Hi guys, yes, it's People and Places, and we are at the World Refugee Day at the Merger Conference in Room 5 at the Jubilee Church, Community Church here in Observatory, Cape Town, South Africa. And the event is organized by I need to get the name right, Tusimame Wanawake organization, which in Swahili means Stand Up Woman. The vision of this organization is immigrant women united in diversity to build a better Africa without limits. And the mission as well is immigrant women creating spaces through building voices, accessing information, skills enhancement, integration for greater independence and social cohesion. And they are supported today by many other organizations, including Flip the Coin, the Stokesville Revolution, and a lot of other organizations are supporting them. So yeah, they've got speakers from various diverse backgrounds. And yes, World Refugee Day was recently celebrated. However, they're having this event, just to recognize and celebrate some of the people they work with and other people, and to obviously raise awareness of refugee issues. So enjoy the day. We'll be right back. Yes, we are still at the World Refugee Day event taking place at the Jubilee Community Church in Observatory, Cape Town, South Africa. And yes, it's People and Places with me, Dr. Mama K. And you can see I've got my purple princess queen all combined. Tell us who you are and how you're involved with today's event.
Good morning to everyone. My name is Vivian Pungitimba. I'm the CEO and founder of Little Steps College and the founder of a non-profit organization called Africa for Future Generation, which is a partner involved with AWINET, which is the African Refugee Lead Network, which we are launching today in this month of Refugee Month.
Okay, so tell us a little bit about who Little Steps College, or what Little Steps College does.
Little Steps College, it's a PTY company which is into education. We are an accredited and recognized institute with the Department of Higher Education. We are into accounting, management, and tourism and hospitality.
Awesome. So for you today, in terms of World Refugee Month, which is, the day has passed, but it's about celebrating and raising awareness of the dilemmas of refugee. What are some of the issues, that are coming up in the non-profit, AWINET and your organization?
We are trying to put an awareness to people to know how the women the refugee women are contributing to the economy. Okay, there is a dilemma, there is a difficult situation that sometimes make us stuck to move forward as a refugee women. But today we are trying to give the message out there to people that we are doing something, because most of the time they will consider refugees as nothing. They are not bringing any input, any contribution in the country. But we want to raise our voice today to say, no, refugee women are doing something. They are contributing in the economy. So this is the part that we want people to know, that we are contributing to the economy of South Africa in the country, and we are working also hand to hand with South Africa. So we are, I can say, we are making sure that collaboration is there, integration is there, and that we are working together. Awesome. Hands to hands.
Thank you. We celebrate you for what you're doing, because yes, it's easy to think refugees are just parasites or just taking off a system. But like you said, there's a lot, of skills and experience of people who, for no fault of theirs, have to move, to a different country, but they are contributing economically, to that economy. So, in closing, for you just now, I want you to just give a word of encouragement to anyone that you speak to.
I encourage everyone to share the knowledge that they have, because sometimes people undermine refugee. They think it's people who don't have any skills. But us being here, we want to collaborate and bring our input to the economy of the country and work in collaboration, share our knowledge, our expertise with local. Therefore, our contribution can be known. And we encourage South African also to join us, because it's not just for foreigners, okay? It's also for South African non-profit organizations that are led by women.
Okay.
They can join us because we want partners, and then we want collaboration with other organizations. We are open to collaboration.
Awesome. Thank you so much. We wish you all the very best. And thank you, for what you're doing with Little Step Academy. Can you share your details of how people can maybe support you in there or find out more about your training?
If you want to join us for education, please contact us in 076 31 86 649, and our website, if you want to verify, to check first what we are doing before to contact us. Therefore, you can be sure that it's an existing company. Check us on www.littlestepscollege.co.za.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Vivian.
Thank you,
Okay,
Mama
we wish you all the
Kay.
best.
Thank
Can't
you.
wait to hear more about what you're going to do in there. We'll be right back.
Thank you. There we go.
Not a form party of voting constituents. The officials are not accountable to them. And in political platforms, you will not find foreigners endorsing political platforms. So that it makes that the voices of foreign nationals does not be, the voices of foreign nationals are not heard. So when we look at the structure of the constitution, and we look at how the laws are being adopted, for example, when it comes to socioeconomic rights or freedoms, I may speak to Public Service Act, because, for example, even if we are here, foreign nationals, especially refugees and asylum seekers, cannot work in the public sector, because the Public Services Act restricts employment to all citizens and permanent residents. So that is another issue. So when it comes to the private sector, you will know that the employment is subject to BEE, which is volume-based black economic empowerment. And when each and every company is mandated to comply, then the foreign nationals are not able to have access to employment. The other one is when we talk about small business. When we talk about small business, we know that refugees and asylum seekers, mostly in many or in other countries, they are usually supported to be able to be self-reliant. But when it comes to South Africa, with regard to small business, you will find that refugees and asylum seekers have no access to small business funds. Even to establish their own business, have them registered by municipalities, it's difficult to do so. So when it comes to women, I wanted to speak to the issue regarding the documentation or to the refugee protection. The challenges that comes with the refugee protection by itself is that women, in the context of refugee protection, I like to say that they are treated as minors. And treating women as minors in terms of refugee protection has a lot of challenges that women face. So when we apply for asylum, there's many applicants, and in many cases the main applicant is a man or is a husband. And the wife becomes independent and the children becomes independent. So anything that happens to the minor applicant affects women. So it comes to the issues of, for example, if I speak to the issues of divorce, issues of deaths, issues of separation. So in a case, if you are independent, in a case, let's say your husband dies, then it becomes difficult to a woman to become the main applicant, because in that case, if the main applicant is no longer existing in the file, that means that the person who wanted to take over the file and become the main applicant in that file is usually relegated to an asylum seeker. For example, if you have a refugee status, you will be relegated to asylum seeking, so that you subjected to interview, so that they can be able to see if you qualify for refugee status. So that process makes many women not to apply, because if you have your refugee status and you want to apply, you may fail in the interview and leading to legal consequences where you may find yourself becoming illegal because your refugee status has been taken away. The other issue that relates to that is where the Refugees Act states that yes, you need to apply for what we call separation of file, but if you want to separate the file, then it becomes a problem to be able to do so, because you will need to be subjected to an interview. You explain why you left your country and why you cannot go back home. So to explain those two issues after 20 years, 15 years, does not become easy to any person to be able to do so. The other one is where separation of a file, you can apply for separation of a file when you are a child and you attain the age of majority. So when you become a major, you can be able to apply for separation of file, so that you have your own file as a main applicant. But still, you face the same question, because when you want to separate the file, then the question arises to understand, or the Department of Home Affairs to know why you are in the country as a refugee. Because your refugee status or asylum seeker status, which you have it on the basis that you are dependent to the main applicant. Let's see another issue. Okay, so those are some of the issues that related to documentation. Then the other issue that I may be able to speak to quickly is the issues of delays. So we have issues of delays, perhaps on the side of the department, because we sometimes when we want to speak about these issues, it becomes difficult for us, because we are not in the position of the government. Because the government, you know that in order to provide the service, the government needs budget. So we cannot sit here and we say, no, the government needs to do this and needs to do that, when we are not aware of it, budget allocated to it. Because that is one that becomes a problem. In that context, we have a limited refugee reception office. I think we have one in Cape Town, in Pretoria, Musina, Port Elizabeth, and Durban. But those centers, they are not enough to serve the foreign community or refugee community that we have in South Africa. Because the refugees, there's a high number of refugees that are here. And when you go to, for example, when you go to Cape Town reception office, you find that there's a long queue. and that one center cannot be able to serve. So that is one example. And when your application is rejected, or if it's rejected and you wanted to go for a review or you wanted to appeal, then the matter may be taken to the Standing Committee for Refugee Affairs. The Standing Committee for Refugee Affairs is based in Victoria. Is not well staffed, and all reviews goes to them. So from all refugee reception offices, when the matters goes to review, then they must be reviewed by the Standing Committee.
When you are there, I'm just trying to take advantage of it because of short of time, but maybe what you can highlight in 1 minute. I mean, you have worked with refugees for a long time, you have seen different cases brought to your table. You know, when you speak of how women in South Africa, refugee women in South Africa are treated as minors, for me in itself is a big challenge because, I mean, we have children who currently, if you have a children as a refugee, you are not given a proper birth certificate. Considering that that woman is treated as a minor and can't be the main applicant of the documentation, are there ways, what can be done? Is there anything that we can do collectively to challenge that? 1 minute.
To challenge that requires a concerted effort of non-profit organizations that they must come together to be able to lobby and advocate for that government, because in order to...
Ready? So I'm just going to sit down because I'm carrying my baby. My name is Sharon Kabambu. I am with Dusimame Wanawaki. So my question, or what we noticed 2 weeks ago, was that one of the lady was taken, the document was taken from her and torn apart, saying that it's a fake document by the clinic there in Kafontein. And also I heard saying that with when it comes to documents, if I want to be out of, like, separate, if I want to be out of my mother, because I'm under my mother, so if I want to be out of my mother's documents and have my own file, I came here young, very young. I don't know what is happening back home. So how do you expect me to go by all my face and be interviewed about my country where I left very young? How will I answer that? Because I came here with my mom very young and all that, got my document with my mom together. So how am I going to handle those questions? Thank you.
Thank you for the question. I think, first and foremost, it has to come from all of us that we really need freedom. You know, because if it doesn't come, if it's not a burning desire for all of us to be free, economically free, it's not going to happen. There was one of the panelists that said we invite people, they don't come. We are always on social media saying come to our workshops so that we can break down how do we build value in all sectors of this economy. All of these economies have got one thing in common. They have their primary sectors, secondary and tertiary sectors that are driving the economy. You know, ours is participation. We need to get more people to participate in the economy, especially those who are previously excluded, right? But for us to participate, we have to move away from asking to participate, you know, because that's what we normally do. We want to ask to participate instead of participating. The first thing we need to do, we need to collaborate our energies, our ideas, and 3, our rand and our dollar. Because we have all these currencies, We have Africans in the continent, Africans in the diaspora. Now we need to amplify our conversation. Come together, have an aligned conversation as to what is it that we want to achieve, what is our vision, have a common vision, and start acting like we are one thing, and practicalize this unity that we are talking about.
Thank you very much. 1 minute is over, but I think what you are highlighting, which is important, there has to be that willing.
The question that goes into separation of file, I think I alluded to earlier. It is not an easy task to separate file, but it is possible to do so. When you apply for separation of file, you need to motivate it, to motivate the reasons why you want it to separate, even though they know that you have attained the age of majority, but you still need to motivate. And you motivate why you cannot go back home. So what happens in practice, when you go to Home Affairs, you know how Home Affairs works. Sometimes the officials at the Home Affairs, they don't have the time to explain to you the process, what you need to do. So the advice is that when you go to Home Affairs, when you apply for separation file, they usually give you a form that you need to fill. And they will ask you to fill it quickly so that you can give it back to them. So mostly when it happens, in that case, you don't just sit and fill the form, because whatever you're going to write down is going to be used against you. And you may end up even lose your status, because you were not advised on what to write down. So it is in this context, perhaps I may call this organization to say that they needed to have a workshop so that we can be able to engage with this matter at length and in deep, so that you can be able to understand that every time you go to Home Affairs, what you need to put down in writing when you are motivating your case, or if you need a legal advice, where you can find that legal advice in order to support your own case. Otherwise, if you want to rush that issue of separation and you don't know the process and what is going to happen, you will end up losing your status and be expelled in the country, given that 14 days to leave South Africa. And when you are given the 14 days to leave South Africa, it becomes more problematic, because in order to reverse that decision, we needed to approach High Court to reverse the decision. So it's an issue that needs to be approached cautiously. Yeah, that's my response.
Thank you to our panelists. I'll now hand over to Lilian Mukizu. Oh, okay. Micheline wants to add an announcement.
Just to clarify, I'm addressing the men leaders. Sometimes you just appoint refugee women representative just to give them, just to cover, just because there is to see that there is a woman there. But what we need, appointing a refugee representative to a committee, but not giving them a real say in decision, that we have to say no.
Okay, hi people and places, it's me Dr. Mama K, and it's still the World Refugee Day 2025 event, which is a collaboration between two organizations. So we're going to meet the main partner, I believe, or one of the partners in that, and they'll share who they are, and as well as what to look out for today, or what we've seen in today's event. So please, can you tell us who you are, ma'am?
Thank you very much. My name is Olivia Nio Dusenga. I am the project director for African Refugee Women-Led Network. I look on the continental aspect of project management, but I also have another organization that I'm a founder called Ndiho Impact. We impact communities through digital advocacy training, and we also train NGOs on how to do digital advocacy. And of course,
so you wear many hats. That's the thing with our women, you see. You can't can't find an African woman not involved in so many things and wearing different hats.
In addition to that, I'm a businesswoman.
Awesome.
I own a raw and pure honey company.
Now you're talking. You see? You see? Yeah. Oh my word. Okay, let me see where I'm going to start from. Let's start from you being a businesswoman. How long have you been an entrepreneur? And what are some of the challenges, especially the area you're working in, which is honey, pure honey? Can you just briefly share that with us?
I think I've been an entrepreneur since I was 12. I remember selling a sack of maize when we were refugees in Kenya.
Okay.
And when people were buying, I thought, wow, there is something to this. And so since then, I've loved entrepreneurship. I cannot mention how many ventures I've done. So
I just love how you started that and relating that to why you are even a project coordinator with African Refugee Women-Led Network. You were a refugee for yourself from, Rwanda in Kenya, at that time. So, and that journey and now being an entrepreneur, right now, not only that, but volunteering yourself to run these NGOs, the digital space you're mentioning, that's a lot. You're doing that. Why are you doing that?
When you love something, one of the things that I usually do, or when I self-reflect, I often tell myself I'll not engage in something that I don't like, something that I don't love, something that does not make impact. And so when I look at the aspect of, African Refugee Women-Led Network, I grew up as a refugee from childhood to adult. I understand it, I've lived it, and so now that I've gone through that journey, it's up to me now to make impact in that space because I know it. Awesome. And when I think of entrepreneurship, my parents were entrepreneurs since I was born,
So you've been in there.
I've been in there.
So you can. So now though, let's go back to some of the issues that were spoken about. We'll come back to this. Sorry, I'm going to be going back and forth.
It's okay.
Some of the issues that were spoken about at today's summit, workshop, conference, where things related to gender-based violence, the xenophobia, language barrier, and a lot of leadership, both the positive and the negative side of things. What else do you think are some of the solutions to things experienced by refugee or migrants or asylum seekers? Like I think one of the speakers said, we should stop, with all these labels, sometimes. But though that label is part of who you are, and why you've got into that. So what are some of the real solutions that's still needed so that your children, I don't know whether you're a mother.
I do.
You're a mother. Okay. Right. So that your children as well do not end in the same kind of circle as this, and we're still talking about these challenges in the next 10 years and 15 years. And what are some of the solutions to this?
Part of the solutions is what actually took place today. Right. It's people coming together to unpack these critical issues that are faced by our communities. Not just talk about it, but also share recommendations, share ideas on how we can go about doing it. Gender-based violence is not new. Xenophobia is not new. Challenges of women being treated like minors, it's not new. But what we have been doing in the past is that we've been talking. Now, we are not just talking, we are talking with the goal of actually doing something about it,
awesome.
Bringing solution to our challenges.
Awesome.
So the answer is in collaboration, putting hands together and say, these are the challenges that we are faced with. How can we go about, overcoming them?
And not only that, who can? I might not be able to do it, but you might be able, and because this is a network, so I might not be able to, deal with a particular problem, but you might or know somebody that might. So how big is this network? Let's go back now to the network. And I see here your vision, your mission, and your core values. The core values, I love that. The hard word, accountability, transparency, equity, and your vision in terms of being the leading voice for, women, African refugees across Africa.
Yeah.
So How big is the network? I know that, when Mama Lillian, I believe,
Yeah.
was speaking, spoke about 17 countries.
Yeah.
Is that in Africa?
Yeah.
Okay. So can you tell us, share that with us?
The network was started by refugee women, Mama Lilian being one of them, and our chairperson, Cecilia Pango, who is based in Malawi.
Okay.
These are women who assessed issues of refugee women and thought, how can we go about doing it? If you look at how issues around refugees are addressed, they don't look specifically on the issues of refugee women and girls.
Right.
And yet, refugee women and girls, they make the highest or the biggest number of the displaced people. And so they came up together and said, we need to do something. And that's how African Refugee Women-Led Network was formed. And in its informity was that they were going
And it's only 1 year, I believe?
Well, 2 years
2
now.
years, okay, all right.
And the idea is to bring together all African refugee women-led organizations, right? And we emphasize that refugee women-led organizations because they understand the challenges, they themselves have lived it, and they have the insight and the knowledge to know how about to go about it. Not that they have all the answers, but they have the experience, they have collaborated before, they have learned what works and what doesn't work. And so imagine if we all come together and put ideas together on how to overcome those. We are currently in 17 African countries, and we are growing.
And I heard when she was speaking about the fact that you guys were invited for the European Union event, and you were part of the people invited to come on and speak to the funders. So well done. That is already a lot of achievements.
What is interesting, and I think this is really worth saying, is how people and big funders, big international players have interest in ARNET. This year we had advocacy training in Kenya where all our chapters met to really map up how we can go about to advocate for the issues that we care about. Last year we had a summit as well in Kenya. And so we work not just to say we are a network, but we actually meet in physical spaces, we work together, we unpack, we strategize. We are really wanting to see the change. For many years we have had talks, we see them on TV, international organizations sitting, talking about the issues of refugee women, but we don't see change. And so through African Refugee Women-Led Network, with all our chapters coming together, we are going to see change.
Awesome. So I want to ask my final question. So where do we want to see ARNET in the next 5 years? Where would you all love to see ARNET in the next 5 years?
That's such a good question. One, we want to be in every African country, right? Second, we want to be in the spaces that make policies. AU, local and national governments, international spaces where refugee policies are shaped. What has been happening is that these policies are put in place without the input of refugees
themselves
being part of it. So one of our biggest goal really is to be part of those influencing spaces so that we can actually be able not only to form policies but to contribute on interventions that work for African refugees.
Awesome. Well, thank you. We wish you all the very best with you and your team. Can you share some social media handle for ARNET or your NGO or your business, whatever you want to share? Just share your contact details here first.
Let me say thank you so much for having me. I'm glad that we could just have a small chat here. You can find ARNET on all social media pages. Just Google African Refugee Women-Led Network. We are on Facebook, we are on Instagram, we are on Twitter. Anywhere we are there,
awesome.
Right? And our website is going to be launched hopefully by the end of this month, and you'll be able to access us.
Awesome. So I lied. Last one now. In closing, could you just give any form of words of encouragement, whether to refugee women, children, or anyone that you had, or migrant people, anyone you feel like speaking to, Rwandans, South Africans, but I want you to look in the camera to do that.
That's a really important question, or the message that you want me to convey. You know what? You have to sit and with yourself and reflect upon your life and say, what is it that I want? Where do I want to go? It could be an individual, it could be a family, it could be an organization. What is it that you want? And once you have identified that, you have to know that if it came in your mind, you are definitely able to achieve it. It might not be easy, but you have to always choose to pursue that. Your dream, your goal, and above all, it can't just be a goal. It has to be able to make impact in someone else's life.
Wow.
Thank you.
Well, this is all about master classes, short ones that we get. I love that. What is it that you want? And not just sit there, but you need to pursue it. And, it shouldn't just be a goal and impact, And you know what we're about on Bold Moves Africa? We're about how we can positively impact lives. So thank you to you and your colleagues for making all that impact through you, through your NGO, through your business, through the network. We see you, we salute you, and may Africa continue to rise, because this cannot continue this way. But through people like you, I believe we all have hope, and we can all see that there's a bright future. So thank you so much.
Thank you for coming and for showcasing such important engagement. It's people like you, organizations, companies like you that make the work, be able to make impact, be able to enable networks like this make impact, because you are showcasing what we are doing. So thank you so much.
Thank you. Well, that's all we've got time for. We'll be right back. Hi guys, yes, it's still People and Places with me, Dr. Mamake, and we are at the event by the different organization, which is about World Refugee Day. So we've got one of the speakers, who some of you must have heard when he was speaking. If not, well, this is the opportunity to just hear big words of wisdom from him. Tell us who you are and what does Flip the Coin, do.
Thank you, Doc. Thank you for having us. My name is Luando Dame. It means increase.
Oh, I love
it's
that.
It's a Xhosa name.
I love that.
I was born and bred in Cape Town. I've been back and forth.
Where in Cape Town specifically?
Cape Town, all crossroads.
Okay, all right.
Yes, people who have seen the movies about apartheid.
Yes.
Crossroad features a lot in those movies. So I was born there, born in an informal settlement, and grew up in a township. I've been in the Eastern Cape, the most rural places of South Africa. So I know pretty much all the levels, of the black life in South Africa, So that is why I always say to people, I'm qualified to be the one representing the struggles, Flip the Coin exists as a concept that I founded and registered in 2019 as a non-profit company first. Because we saw a need of a platform of economic emancipation, and this time by the people, for the people, without politicians, without all these, conforming systems, systems of the conventional systems,
And the name.
Flip the Coin.
I know it should say what it means, but I want to just make people get that in there.
The name.
Yeah, that name.
That is very important.
Yeah.
Thanks for that question, because it's very important for people to understand that we are referring to the mind when we say the coin of heaven, as we call it.
Okay.
Because we believe that it's the paradigm that controls our actions. It's the paradigm that controls our choices. It's the paradigm that controls our results. As a black nation, we are not where we are because we are cursed. We are where we are because there's a paradigm, the program in the mind that controls our behaviors. That controls what we choose and continue to choose. We believe that poverty is a state of mind. And so is wealth. So wealth and poverty are two sides of the same coin.
Right.
So if you want to move from poverty, flip the coin, and operate on the different side.
Right.
Because you want to operate on the side that has your results. Because when we think, we step into a frequency, a frequency of things and people. Because if you think poverty, you are on a frequency of people worship, and validate poverty. When you think wealth, you get onto a frequency where you attract things and people that are reflective of your thoughts. We become what we think about. So Flip the Coin is an advocate for that belief system that says we are self-made.
Right.
Only the rich will admit to it.
And the Stockville Revolution, because you're saying revolution now, and I know you've said for the people, by the people, and you've got highlighted there about spirituality, unity, wealth, manifestation, which we're talking about now. Can you give us a kind of a round summary of what that is, that revolution?
Yes. The Stockville is a system, of collective saving towards, a common goal. Here we save. Just imagine if we were saving collectively as Africans. What would we achieve? So we don't need the toy revolution anymore. We need the Stockville revolution where we not only unite our rand, but our energies, our ideas, our skills, our experiences. We unite who we are. And then we bring who we are to any environment. And be proud that we are the first equity. Before money, it's us.
Right.
Money will only come when we realize that we are important, we are worthy of attention, and anybody who is wealthy out there is made by us. Anybody who is powerful out there is powerful because of us. Isn't it now time for us to use our power to empower ourselves?
Okay.
So the Stockville concept is ours. Let's use it to empower ourselves.
So what are you now doing with that? What does that mean?
The Stockville now buys us properties, income properties. The Stockville now ensures our participation in all sectors, including agriculture, mining, retail.
Right.
We are saying, let's use the Stockville money as equity to gain access to other people's money. The same way other nations are doing the Jewish community is doing it, the Indian community is doing it, the white community is doing it. So we're saying, what do we have as leverage? As a people, we've got our numerical advantage. When we bring our small resources together, we do what we call a Stockville. That Stockville unlocks access. Then we are able to build our own schools. We are able to build our own bank.
Hospitals.
We are able to build our own hospitals. The topic today was about refugee, because refugees can be funded by this. We can fund our own innovations, our own ideas, our own concepts, our own, value. We can build our own value chains using this concept. We can have a bank that funds our own innovation, our own inventions, because we've got a group of young people now that is coming up, in the era of YR. These people will come with a lot of ideas. They will want to create solutions from scratch. Who funds them? Those ideas will be taken away if it's not us who fund those ideas. So we have to create a fund using our concept. But this fund, of course, it will also elevate us to be seen as partners in the marketplace. Because we want the public sector, which is government, to see us as partners. We want the private sector to see us as partners. But we must see ourselves as partners first.
I love that. So when you were talking, let's go now to your talk, which was really, really powerful and stood out.
Yes.
When you were talking and you mentioned Namibia, for me, I've been to Namibia a few times, the fact that Namibia is a small, it's big in terms of land, but in terms of the population, comparing that to Kaalisha, and what you were saying, in terms of the reality, on the ground. Can you share, touch on that a little bit?
There's a country called Namibia. The country is a small country, but you still find poverty. Do you want to tell me that the resources in Namibia are not enough for all those people? You know, we're making examples that are real, because that's one real example. You know, and the cause for that is always the central issue, which is ownership.
Right.
The central issue here is ownership. We are coming together here to claim back ownership of our continent as a whole. But we start with our own separate countries because we did not design the continent as it is. You know, it's not our design, it was designed in Berlin. But it is our responsibility to change this reality.
Okay.
That is why we need to flip the coin. You know, we need to operate from the power of knowing that we do have the capacity. We do have the skills now. We do have the energy of the young, the wisdom of the old. As a collective, we still have the power to change any situation and overcome any obstacle. So in Kailija, people in Kailija can simply, with their numbers, they can buy all the malls in their area. Because businesses in an environment must be owned by the citizens, by the residents of that environment. Without ownership, you can't help a fellow African.
Right.
If you don't own the means of production, you can't own a fellow. So the fellow African now who comes to you knocking for help becomes a threat because you don't own. You know, so all of our issues are directly connected, you know, to the source of everything, which is poverty. Poor people are always insecure. Poor people always believe that resources are scarce. Poor people operate from lack. So you can't come to poor people and ask for help. You know, the mind must be flipped, hence flip the coin.
Wow.
Once the coin is flipped, now people will believe in the opposite of lack, which is abundance. We will say spirituality because here there's no lack. There's no lack in spirituality. And when you don't have lack, it's easy to collaborate with others because they are not a threat to you. You see an opportunity when you see people. You see an opportunity, so it's easy to collaborate. So unity can be achieved easily. When we go back to our spirituality, which is our first and foremost natural state. So when you move from unity, when you move with unity as a collective, wealth is manifested. It's not created. Wealth was always there. It was created by our Creator. Now we need to manifest it. But we need to believe that we are born wealthy.
Wow, you know, I could stay with you here all day listening to you, and there's so many questions coming up, but can't wait, you know, to come and have a full-on conversation with you. It's been enlightening, it's been educative,
It would be a pleasure.
you know, I love the fact that when you were talking as well, you were being honest to say, you know, I don't know what a refugee, you know, is like. I've never met a refugee, you know, and all that, but there's more conversation obviously to be held. Where can people get you? I think maybe just share your social media handle, and then I have one more last question after that. So where can people get you?
Flip the Coin SA's Facebook, TikTok, Instagram.
Right.
And we are also found in that website, ftcsa.co.za. It's under construction. We're adding some stuff. It should be live by next week, you know, because we are revamping it. And we have an office in Philippi Village, second floor, number 32.
All right.
You know, we've been there since 2021, you know, so we also organize events. We are always on socials, you know, advertising our services because people are coming in numbers to join. We also exist in Queenstown. In the Eastern Cape, we are trying to exist in the Eastern Cape. In different places. Mthatha, Ngcobo, Coffee Bay as well. Because
it's a revolution.
It is a revolution.
You know, it's a movement, you know, more than anything. So thank you, you know, for your time and for sharing your knowledge, the wisdom and so. So in closing, I want you to just give words of encouragement to anyone out there, but I want you to look in the camera.
All right. First and foremost, you are an African. Before you are anything else. In fact, you are a human then you are an African later. But the African part will help you embrace other Africans. You know, Flip the Coin exists to unite all Africans, and we need to start seeing Africans as an opportunity, not as a threat. You know, I'm making that call. It's a clarion call to our South African brothers and sisters. We are here in an event organized by people who are labeled as refugees. We want to eliminate all those labels to our Africans. Our Africans must be home in Africa. It doesn't matter where. And we need to start creating value as Africans together so that we can employ each other, so that we can do business with each other. We've got the skills, we've got the knowledge, we've got the energy, you know, and we also have the experience because some of us have been around the world. Now it's time to package everything that we have to create value that we can sell to the world as Africans, as a collective. Stockfile revolutions, flip the coin. The stockfile must be an African thing.
Awesome. Well, you've heard him, the man, Mr. Luendo Tami, which means increase. And thank you. We see you. We salute you because this is not just about women.
Yes.
And I always say as well, yes, we have events, you know, for women, by women, but we can't leave our men out there. We need them to hear us.
Yes.
We need them to be part of that table, but with us taking lead, you know, that. And thank you, you know, for availing yourself.
Let us remember that women were once worshipped. In Africa.
Yeah, correct.
We also need to go back home.
They're correct. Yeah. Thank you so much.
Women
We wish you and your team all the very best, and we want to hear more of what Flip the Coin is doing. Maybe we need Flip the Coin in Malawi. We need it in Zimbabwe, in Nigeria, whereby it's the mindset, because there's poverty everywhere that we claim in Africa, but meanwhile we've got so much wealth. Yes. So I wish you all the very best in your endeavor, and I hope doors are open for you, you know, in terms of opportunity, so that we are, you know, about this, you know, unity, world manifestation. Thank you so much. We'll be right back. Okay, yes, it's still people and places, and we're still at the World Refugee Day 2025, organized in collaboration by two organizations, and we've got my amazing sister friend here. Some of you that saw her, you know, in a previous program will remember her, but let her tell us who she is and how are you and how have you found today's event?
My name is Patricia. Thank you very much, Sister Kemi. Thank you. It's always good to see you. So I'm here as a representative of Quest organization, but I'm also part of Tusimame Wanawake. Today event was very good, and I'm happy that the panelists managed to touch different problems, such as the problem of the documents, such as the problem of the gender-based violence, such as the problem of leadership, and the problem of uniting people of Africa, which is very crucial to avoid things such as xenophobia and bringing African people to work together. And when I say bringing African people to work together, I'm looking at South African and foreigners who are founding themselves in South Africa. They should find a way to work together. So these are the things that
you're right, you know, in terms of the solutions, them talking about solutions, how to solve the problem, rather than, yes, we know what the issues are, and some of the issues, you know, in terms of for refugees or migrants are similar to what some of the locals, blacks who are disadvantaged, you know, experience. So collaboration was a key thing that was mentioned, and I know with your organization, not just Kwesu, but the network and all the other people's Flip the Coin, all the people involved here. What more do you think, though, can be done to improve on some of these challenges?
The most important thing that can be done is taking action. Because this meeting, this gathering, and these talks, we've been having them for so many years. We've been having the African Day, these are the solutions, these are the problems. But as long as no one is taking action, no one will see anything changing. So people must take action. Those who advocating for gender-based violence, they must take action and continue the work. Those who are talking about xenophobia and advocating for it, they must take action. So everybody, wherever you find yourself, just take action and be part of the solution.
Awesome. Tell us a little bit about Kwesu again. For those who don't know, come on, because I know there's been a lot of changes even from the last time we spoke.
I've been in education since I'm in South Africa. I'm working with youth and all
you're
I
an
know.
engineer by profession.
Yeah. All I know and all I want to bring to the life of people is better education, good education, even for those who could not do it before. As long as you do something, you learn something, you upskill yourself and make sure that you can bring food to your table. So the center, Kwesu, it's open Monday to Saturday for people to come and learn the sewing so that they can be able to make money. The sewing is not just for making money, it's also therapeutic. For people who are stressed, for people who are depression, for people who want to change ideas or whatever, you can learn the sewing and start be able to do something for yourself.
Awesome.
So we've been doing that for more than 10 years now. And many people have been in industries, in factories, and some have started their own business. So yeah, those are the things that I do for Kwesu.
So how can we follow Kwesu, or what are the social media handles?
We are on Facebook. We are Kwesu Organization, and we are also on LinkedIn, and we are also on X. And yeah, you can find us easily on those platforms.
Awesome,
sure.
Awesome.
Thank you so much.
So to close, can you just say a few words of encouragement to anyone, out there?
The encouragement that I can give people right now is everything is possible. Just stand up and keep going. Doesn't matter how tough it is, keep going. You may think that you are the only one who's struggling. Everyone has a struggle of its own. So keep going, and there is hope at the end of the tunnel.
Awesome. Thank you very much, my dear sister. Wish you all the very best. I will be right back.
Thank you.
Okay, hi guys. Yes, we're still people and places, and wow, what a day it has been with the World Refugee Day at the Jubilee Community Hall in Observatory, Cape Town, South Africa. And I've learned, I've unlearned, I've relearned. It's been interesting, it's been fabulous, but like one of the people we were speaking to said is about taking action. We've had all these things, but how do we take action and move forward? So I've got one of the organizers. So she's my sister, friend, pastor, everything combined. But today we're talking on a corporate level. So she's going to tell us who she is, how she's been involved. And I couldn't pronounce that, so she's going to pronounce it properly. I did try, but I'm going to learn it now. So tell us who you are, ma'am, and how you are involved with today's event, and obviously the organization.
Thank you so much for visiting with us today, Mama Kay, my sister, my friend, my ride or die. My name is Tolulola George, and I'm the National Coordinator for Tusimame Wanawake.
You have to teach me how to pronounce it.
Yes.
It's not that bad, actually.
No, it's not.
Tusimame Wanawake.
Yes.
And it means?
It means stand up women in Swahili.
In Swahili.
Yes. So what our ideals are is we are trying to amplify the voices of migrant and refugee women in South Africa, and also to give them spaces to develop, to also have agency and to advocate for themselves. So that is what we do in a nutshell. And as one of the co-organizers of this World Refugee Day celebration with Arnett, it has been a very enlightening experience because we've had a very distinguished panel in which the panelists have spoken about various aspects of the challenges that the women face in South Africa, from issues of legal documentation and immigration situations to looking at gender-based violence through the specific cultural lens of the African refugee woman. And we've also looked at the issue of building wealth through crowdfunding, through coming together, and leadership of African women in different spaces. So we've also had on, as one of our panelists, one of the Section 9 commissions who spoke very powerfully about how to actually advocate for ourselves and actually make submission to change the experience of the migrant women. And the beauty of this is the tail end of it all is that you have to collaborate. We can't defeat the common enemy alone.
Correct.
We have to collaborate.
Correct.
Collaboration is the new competition. Collaboration is the new currency that we engage to achieve the goals that we have.
So for me, all what you've said, and I think I was very impressed, with the diversity of your panel. In terms of the skills, the experience, and some of what they were coming up with, but not just the issues, because I'm a solution person.
Yes.
And I'm always about, okay, we've heard so much about the problems and the problems
Yes.
and the problems, but what are the solutions and how are we doing that? But like you said, collaboration is the new competition, and that is key,
Yes.
in whatever we do. And as well, one of the speakers that spoke powerfully about, the source of some of this is poverty.
Yes.
Not just because you're a migrant or an asylum seeker or refugee, but sometimes it's just even being a woman.
Yes.
In here in South Africa or anywhere else in Africa. So for you, some of the solutions have been shared. What else do you see, to add to in terms of, what more can we do? Because I remember a speaker spoke about information. I think was it Mama Lillian that was saying, "Oh, did we know what that commissioner, said?
Yes.
Are we aware of it?"
Yes.
So education, awareness.
Yes.
Even the guy from Fit the Loop, or what was it
Yes.
called now?
Flip
the coin. Sorry,
Yes.
beg your pardon. Flip the coin. Mentioned the fact that he's not even aware of the issues for refugee or asylum seeker. What are the solutions to all that?
The solutions, well, I will be speaking now as the coordinator of Tusimame Wanawake.
Yes, please.
What we have tried to do is we've discovered that these problems that we face, they're also peculiar to South African locals. So what we have done over the years is we have built relationships with South African locals, and we have also included them as part of the beneficiaries of our program.
Good.
And the goal of that is to build, to create more social cohesion, to create more. You spoke at one of our events some time ago in which we spoke about how we are all essentially the same. South African people experience problems with immigration, with documentation and their IDs. They experience issues with gender-based violence.
Correct.
And so that is why as a movement, we're trying to work with not just migrant and refugee organizations, but also with South African stakeholders and also with government. We're doing it slowly and steadily. And interestingly, we are one of the social cohesion partners of the DST.
Okay.
Awesome. And we were able to, the gender commissioner was speaking about a national action plan for gender-based violence and femicide. I was there to present on behalf of the migrant women as one of the most vulnerable groups in the society. And the only reason why I was able to access those spaces was because of strategic partnerships with South African locals. So what Mr. Tame from Flip the Coin said was very powerful. Until we remove the issue of self-hatred for our fellow Africans, our poverty will continue to persist.
So one of the things that was said as well there, and I believed, it's quite valid. I think it was a question from one of the guests, about we need the politicians, we need the Home Affairs, we need the people who can make the decision, who can, in terms of statutory laws and so on, change things. If not, we're just talking and nothing gets done. What are the plans for your organization now to make sure at future or similar events like this, they are dragged, because I know sometimes you could be given excuses about, oh yeah, we want to be there or something else, but they need to be here. We need to have a politician hearing directly
Yes.
from your beneficiaries
Yes.
and even the locals, like you said.
Yes.
So because it's not just migrants, but it's other South Africans as
Yes.
well that you work with,
Yes.
trying to build social cohesion.
Yes. Well, the truth is, we try, we reach out, we do the best we can. Sometimes we are lucky and they respond. But unfortunately, Home Affairs, which is one of the most vital departments, is never there. But one of the wins is one of the Scalabrini lawyers, the head of the legal services,
Right.
Mr. James Chapman, who has also been on the forefront of the fight for refugees'
And a
rights.
partner,
And a
probably,
partner, he's one of our partners. He has recently been appointed to the advisory council
Awesome.
for the Minister of Home Affairs.
Okay.
So we are hoping that with these recognitions, with these spaces that we're entering, we're able to access.
Get to that table.
Yes, to get to the table on that level. Because
And bring your chair along.
and bring our chair and the table. Yeah, so we're hoping that that will be a very, very positive, make a positive impact on the work that we do.
Thank you. We commend you. We salute you. We see you because there's a lot more that needs to be done. But you're doing this one woman at a time, one community at a time. And like you said, each time a woman stands up for herself, she stands up for all women. And I think we're all African women, and at the end of the day, life, is about giving. And thank you for giving and for just putting yourself, as well out there. So we wish you all the very best. How can people contact you guys if they want to volunteer or hear more about what you're doing? Could you share your social media? I know some of it is here, but just,
Our offices are on the 4th floor of 6 Spin Street in Cape Town, just next to Parliament. And we are also very active on social media. Our social media handles on Instagram and on Facebook are Tusimami Wanawake. You can also send us an email at tusimamiwww@africaunite.org.za.
Okay. So is this an event that you have once a year, or I heard this was the first partnership with the network.
Yes.
So are you looking forward to similar events? Because collaboration, like we said, it's key, and the new competition and the new currency.
Yes.
So should we look forward to more similar events?
Oh, yes. You can look forward to a lot more events. We've been having events in collaboration, and we will continue to have events. So watch the space, watch our social media. You'll hear from us very soon.
Awesome. So in closing, and that's the end for today with the program, we'll come back with more in terms of people and places, but let's hear from her to give us a word of encouragement. But I need you to look in the camera. Anyone you feel like speaking to?
First of all, I want to thank Mama Kay for the hard work that she does within the communities. She's been working very hard for many years within South African communities, and we salute that. But I want to speak to every migrant and refugee woman out there. You don't have to sit back and be a victim. You can be a survivor. You can be a change maker. One of the most dynamic change makers I know is Mama Kay. You don't have to say, sometimes all you need to do is just attend a workshop, join an organization, join a movement, become active in advocating for the change that you wish to see. Thank you so much for your time.
Awesome. You heard her. Be part of the change. Don't sit back. Advocate for more. Find people to work with, or just volunteer even of yourself. Thank you, because this is a voluntary volunteer post as well.
Yes.
So well done. We see you
so much.
and your team. Congratulations, and can't wait to hear more of how you are helping in terms of social cohesion and cultural diversity, and so much addressing gender-based violence and homophobia, everything combined through opportunities like this. We see you. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Well, that's all we've got for today, and we'll be right back till next time. Stay safe. God bless. Love you.